Hi, this is one of the many forms in your 60-page disclosure you just received. So this is the one that has a bunch of numbers. So I just thought I'm going to give this one its own special video. If you want to watch it, great. If not, but I just thought I would explain on an actual loan estimate is the part that you're not seeing across the top here. But this is called your initial loan estimate. So when you are seeing it, what you want to do is up above, just check your name, check the address. Up at the very top, that is a little bit out of screen for customer confidentiality, but right above this area would say, is this loan locked? Is it not? Um, when does the lock expire? All that good stuff. Okay, so and then you, as we get into it, you just say, okay, what's our loan amount? Okay, we have 420. What's this is the it says interest rate, obviously, but that's the note rate. So you'll have your note rate, and you'll have your um, you will have your APR. The APR is always going to be higher than the note rate. The note rate is actually what the loan would be locked at. It would be what the payment is calculated off of. The APR, in case you're wondering, is if you took all the fees, everything into it, and you said, okay, if we had to convert that to the first year and a rate to convert it to a rate, what would that be? And that's how they come up with the APR. But so if you see your principal and interest, that is not what you're going to pay every month. That's just the principal and interest portion, because go down a little bit more and you'll see, okay, like in this loan, it includes your taxes, includes your insurance. In this case, it's another $504. So add those two together. That's what you're going to be paying um, every month. Okay. Again, and that does not include your HOA. Your HOA is collected separately. So as we go down a little bit more, you're going to see these numbers down here, and you're going to go, wow, that seems really high. $9,000. But keep on going, and you'll see. And we're going to explain a little bit more on the next page. But what they call closing costs aren't really all closing costs. There are some closing costs, obviously, but then there's also in that would be um, your taxes, your insurance. Like so, for example, your insurance. You'll see this on the next page, and I switch over. But they're gonna collect a full year of insurance, and you're gonna bring that right up front. So taxes vary on when you close, but and then the estimated cash to close. So do not go get a cashier's check. Do not wire any money from for this amount yet. This is very initial number, preliminary. It'll be high right now. After final approval, we'll get the final numbers. We'll go over together. Okay, so this would be the second page. So I want to point out a couple of things, and let's just start off right out of the gate. Like, wow, $8,800, 8875. So they lump in a few things. They lump in your the admin fee. That would be the processing fee. Origination fee. Let's say in this example, 6930, and then the underwriting fee goes to the lender. They lump them all up as origination. The actual origination goes to Edge. I do not own the company, so that goes to my company. I get a cut of that. But what I want to point out to you, which a lot of people miss, is if you go over here, so we see 6930. However, look on your kind of bottom right over here, and you're going to see a lender credit unless you, for some reason, chose not to. Usually this number is going to be really similar to this number. So you can look at that. On the next section, it says services you cannot shop for. So the appraisal fee is a good example. Appraisal fee is a third party. You just are going to, whatever that appraiser charges you, that's what you're going to pay. Credit reports are going through the roof these days, all that stuff, flood cert, tax cert, that kind of stuff. And then you get into more services you cannot shop for. It says services you can shop for. It's a little bit of a misnomer, to be honest, because in Colorado, our sellers, it got cut off here, I'm sorry, but all these are title fees. You'll see it on yours. But in Colorado, the seller picks the title company. They're all pretty similar, so it's not a huge thing, but that's what the title company is charging you, and you can't really shop that, to be honest. So, but let's go up on the upper right. If you look at your prepaids, and you're like, what in the world? What in the world are prepaids? So, like I said, your homeowner's insurance. Your homeowner's insurance, you'll see right out of the gate, they're collecting 12 months. So you're going to go to your insurance agent. You're going to get a quote. Whatever that insurance agent quotes you, you're going to bring that full year to closing. Okay, so then you're kind of wondering, okay, well, if we're paying a full year right up front, why are they collecting another 3 months down here? Same thing, homeowner's insurance. This doesn't make sense. So why they do that is, let's say, for example, you close in January. If you close in January, you're going to skip February. There's not going to be any payment in February. Your first payment will be in March. In March, you'll start making your payments. Your payments will include 1/12 of whatever that insurance agent quoted you. But you'll see by next January, we need another 12 months sitting in your account, in your escrow account, and they're going to advance that to your insurance company. Well, if they don't collect this, they don't have 12 months. So you've only made 10 payments. They collect this, they collect a little extra. On the actual final closing disclosure, you're going to see a line under here that's going to say aggregate adjustment. That's going to be a credit back to you. And what that is they can only legally hold so much of your money between taxes and insurance. So the rest goes right back to you, but you'll see that on the final closing disclosure. Prepaid interest. A lot of people ask, what's this prepaid interest about? This is going to be, so think about it this way. You pay mortgage interest in arrears. So using that example of closing in January. If you close on January 16th, for example, there's going to be 15 more days of the month. So you're going to bring the rest of January. So instead of for one day, in that example, it'd be 15 days, because you're going to bring the rest of the month that you close in. And then after that, what you'll see is when you make your March, you pay mortgage interest in arrears. So when you make March 1st payment, you are going to be paying the interest from February 1st through February 28th. So that one can be in the same, it can be a little confusing, as well as taxes, because taxes are going to vary depending on when you close. So if I wanted to use Colorado, for example, our taxes out here are due in February and they're due in June. So depending on when you close, that'll fluctuate. So let's say if we're using that January close date, you're going to skip February, like we just said. We're going to have March, so you'll make March, April, May, and then boom, right away, June comes up, and you need 6 months of taxes. So what's nice about this is why I said those numbers are high on the cash to close. On the final closing disclosure, what that will have that you're not seeing in this is you're going to have prorated refunds. So on the day, you're paying the whole year's taxes, but you're going to get a prorated credit, a tax credit from the seller, because you didn't own that the whole year. So up until the day that you close, that's when you start paying your percentage and your portion, and then the rest will come right from that seller. So again, you kind of see where the rest of it, you'll see your down payment, whatever that was. If your earnest money, you should see that there. If you, for some reason, don't have your earnest money there, it's not a huge thing right now. Usually you will see that, though, just FYI. And again, The estimated cash to close will be what should match what it has on the first page. It's a preliminary number at this point. They're going to estimate high. So last page, on the last page, they just come up with some numbers as far as just kind of to show you like, okay, in 5 years, how much principal interest, how much have you paid in mortgage insurance, loan costs, all that stuff. It'll show you your total principal. If you didn't pay a dime extra, how much you would have paid off. But what's interesting is this is kind of a fancy calculation, but really here's what it means. If you can pay extra, pay extra. You don't have to pay the minimum payment. There's no prepayment penalty on this loan. This third page, when it comes down to the closing disclosure, remember this is the initial loan estimate, but when you get into the initial closing disclosure, you're going to see a different kind of comparison, and it's going to say what numbers were at this initial thing and what are the final numbers. A lot of those numbers can't change. Like right now, for example, your taxes, we should know, have a pretty good idea. Those could change if something changes there. If there is a your insurance, we don't know right now. That's something you shop for, so we'll give an estimate on that, but that can change. However, let's say there's something like an appraisal. If we order an appraisal but we didn't disclose it, I eat it. We can't go back and charge you something that was not disclosed. We can't add any fees. If anything changes in the loan, you'll get a disclosure showing that. So yeah, anyway, hope this helps. I'm around, obviously. If you have any questions, please just let me know.